The sun dipped low, spilling golden light across the red clay path as birds gave their final songs to the day. Beneath the ancient baobab tree, its twisted branches reaching like the fingers of spirits, two shadows met in silence. Kwame stood there, his calloused hands trembling, still stained from the forge. He had shaped gold into crowns for chieftains, into necklaces for nobles. But none of it compared to the fire in his chest now. Adwa stepped forward. Her footsteps made no sound. The golden beads in her braids caught the last rays of sunlight. She was clothed in indigo kente, soft as wind, woven with symbols of royalty and imprisonment. For a moment, neither spoke. The tree remembered their laughter, their promises, echoes buried in roots older than memory. Then he whispered, as if the gods might hear him and punish his daring, "I would give anything to make you mine." The words didn't fall to the ground. They rose and hung in the silence. Her fingers brushed his. Her voice trembled. Then, "Prove it, Kwame. Prove it before my father sells me to the highest bidder." The sun vanished. The tree held its breath. The gods did not yet answer. Kwame took her hand, gently, as though afraid she might vanish like mist. His thumb grazed the beads on her wrist. They were royal, but they felt like shackles. "I know what your father expects," he said, voice low. "He sees gold, not hearts." She looked down. "In the eyes of the kingdom, love is the poorest bride price," she whispered. Kwame's jaw tightened. "Then I'll pay in gold, in sweat, in fire, in blood if I must." His eyes, usually calm as still water, burned now with something deeper. "Not just love, defiance. I'll gather what even kings cannot. I'll bend the fire until it obeys me. I'll face your father, and whatever price he sets, I'll meet it." Her breath caught. The wind rustled the kente wrapped around her like a sigh from the ancestors. She leaned in, forehead brushing his. "If you speak this, then don't just promise, Kwame. Prove." And in the silence that followed, the tree above them dropped a single yellowed leaf. As if the gods themselves were listening and waiting. The wind had stilled. Even the leaves stopped rustling, as if the night itself was listening. Adwa stepped back, her hand slipping from his. "You don't know what you're asking," she said quietly. Her voice no longer trembled with romance. It trembled with warning. "My father, Chief Bowen, doesn't bend. He breaks. He wears tradition like a crown and crushes disobedience beneath his bracelets." Kwame said nothing, but his eyes never left hers. She turned, lifting her gaze toward the stars, slowly appearing through the branches. "He's already promised me. To whoever brings him more gold than you'll ever see." Her voice cracked, barely. "I am a daughter, not a woman. A symbol, not a soul. If he finds out about us..." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. The baobab tree creaked, its ancient bark groaning in the silence. Kwame stepped forward but did not touch her. "Then we'll carve a future where he can't reach." The first drumbeat sounded faintly in the village beyond. The night had begun. The palace was not made of gold, but it felt like it. Every step Kwame took across the polished stone echoed louder than the last. Not in sound, but in consequence. He had dressed with care, his finest wrap, his tools polished, his sandals clean, but he could feel the weight of the stairs around him. Servants paused, elders whispered, a goldsmith among kings. At the head of the chamber, Chief Bowen sat like a mountain carved in kente. His robe shimmered with red, green, and gold threads that caught the sunlight. His wrists clinked with heavy bracelets, each one a story of power. Kwame bowed. His voice did not shake. "Chief Bowen, I come with honor. I come with intention." The chief raised one eyebrow. Speak, boy. Kwame met his gaze. I seek your blessing to marry your daughter, Adwa. The room froze. Somewhere in the back, a servant gasped. Chief Bowen leaned forward, tapping his staff once against the floor. It echoed like thunder. We shall see what you're worth, boy. Chief Bowen sat back slowly, as if deciding whether to laugh or crush. The chamber was silent. Kwame's words still hung there, bold and raw. You wish to marry my daughter? The chief asked, finally. His voice was deep, coated in power and disbelief. Kwame bowed again. Yes, my chief. I will pay any bride price you command. A slow smile cracked the chief's lips. Not joy, amusement. He rose. The golden bracelets on his arms clinked like chains forged from gods. His staff struck the ground once, then twice, then a third time. Then bring me, he said, what only kings can afford. The room leaned in. His voice thundered, 50 bars of the purest gold. 10 rolls of royal kente, woven by the hands of master weavers from Kumasi, and 1 sacred elephant tusk. The words struck harder than drums. The elders exchanged glances. A servant snorted. Someone stifled a laugh. Kwame did not move. Not a blink. Not a tremble. The chief narrowed his eyes. If you truly love her, you'll find a way, or you'll die trying. Kwame stepped back from the chief's throne. The price had been spoken, etched in the air like a curse. Behind him, the elders whispered. One scoffed, another shook his head. Then came the laughter. Not the soft kind, not hidden behind hands. It was loud, cruel, the sound of men who believed dreams were for fools. A goldsmith bring royal tusks? Let him make bracelets, not promises. Kwame did not flinch. His fists remained unclenched. His shoulders never dropped. He turned. Slowly. Eyes met eyes, each insult falling on him like rain on rock. He didn't answer. Silence became his armor. As he left the palace, even the children joined in. Kwame wants a princess, they shouted. He'll need wings to fly that high. He said nothing. But deep inside, something ancient stirred. Not pride, not rage. Something older. Fire. The sky was clear. Too clear. The kind of silence that comes before storms or war. The village gates parted, and through them rode a figure wrapped in red and shadow. Nanaku, the warlord. His horse snorted smoke. Gold gleamed from his chest, his wrists, even the hilt of his sword. Not just wealth, power weaponized. Children stopped their games. Elders fell silent. Even the goats froze. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. Behind him, slaves carried crates stacked with bars of gold, bolts of untouched royal kente, and, yes, 1 tusk. A sacred one. The earth itself seemed to lean away from him. He rode straight to the chief's compound, dismounted with the grace of someone who never hears no. I've come, he said, to buy your daughter. His voice was smooth, but beneath it was a blade. The drums began again. Not celebration, not warning. Submission. The chief's court was filled with light, but no warmth. Nanaku stood before Chief Bowen without bowing. His crates were opened. Gold spilled like floodwaters. Kente silk gleamed like captured sunlight. The tusk was real, sacred, untouched. The room gasped, not because of awe, but because it was done. Here, Nanaku said, is your price. Take my gold, take my gifts. Give me the girl. Chief Bowen rose slowly, bracelets clinking like rainfall over steel. He said nothing. He did not need to. He stepped down from his throne, touched the tusk, weighed a gold bar, let silk slip through his fingers. Then he nodded. One small, devastating nod. The court did not erupt in joy. It simply accepted. Kwame was not there. But his silence echoed louder than the drums outside, and somewhere beyond the palace walls, a girl's heart broke like clay and fire. The moon had not yet risen, but the damage had already been done. Adwa ran, barefoot, her kente trailing like a wounded flag behind her. The palace gates had closed behind the deal, and in her chest, something closed too. She found him beneath the tree. Of course she did, the place where love was whispered, now soaked in sorrow. Kwame, her voice cracked. She fell to her knees. He turned, and when he saw her eyes, swollen from crying, his heart nearly stopped. "He sold me," she said. "He gave me away, like I was cattle." She reached for him, clung to him like breath to life. "By the next full moon he'll take me away," she whispered. "If you love me, Kwame, save me." Her hands shook, her voice shook, but her eyes were fire. Kwame said nothing, but inside him, something shifted. Not grief, not fear, resolve. The jungle path twisted like a serpent, lit only by the soft glow of a dying lantern. Kwame walked alone. Not with fear, but with purpose. Every villager knew you didn't visit Naya unless you were desperate, unless the living had failed you, and you needed to speak with those who no longer breathed. Her hut was waiting, draped in roots and smoke. Bones strung over the doorway clinked softly as he stepped inside. Old Naya did not look up. Her grey dreadlocks were tied in loops, her eyes closed, her fingers tracing the rim of a wooden bowl filled with ash and feathers. "You come with fire in your chest," she said before he spoke. Kwame knelt. "I come with love," he answered, "and chains I must break." She opened one eye. It held the weight of centuries. "Then speak your truth, child of the forge," she said. "But know what you ask will awaken the old ones." Kwame's hands shook, but his voice did not. "Let them hear me." Old Naya stirred the ashes in her bowl. Each motion released a wisp of smoke that danced like spirits trying to speak. Kwame remained still. The silence inside that hut felt heavier than stone. "You seek to take what has been sold," she said, "to reclaim what was given away." He nodded. "Yes. Then know this. Love that is bought with gold is cursed. It does not grow. It rots from the inside." Her hands stopped moving, her eyes locked with his. But love stolen from fire? From fate itself? That kind of love awakens the ancestors. Kwame swallowed hard. "If I take her before the wedding, will the spirits protect us?" Old Naya leaned close. Her breath smelled of herbs and thunder. "Yes," she whispered, "but only if your love is true. And if your heart does not doubt, even when the drums chase you into the trees." The fire popped. A single feather curled to ash in the bowl. The ancestors had heard, and they would wait. Night fell heavy on the village. Not with peace, but with expectation. Beneath the same baobab where it all began, Kwame waited. A torch flickered beside him, casting long shadows across the roots. Then she came, Adwa, cloaked, silent, her gold now hidden beneath plain cloth. Their fingers met first. No words needed, but they spoke anyway. "The jungle path beyond the river," he said. "We'll reach the border before the sun returns." She nodded. "There's a shrine near the trees. Old Naya said the spirits will guide us from there." He took out a small pouch. Inside it, the last of his gold. "Not for payment, for offering." "We leave after the wedding drums start," she whispered. "While they feast, we run. And if they follow," Kwame looked toward the sky, "then may the ancestors finish what we've begun." Their foreheads touched, not as lovers, as co-conspirators of fate. The baobab above them swayed, like it knew, like it remembered every broken rule carved in its bark. The sun was gone. The sky wore a crown of stars, but in the village center the drums had begun, not fast, not joyful, just steady. A beat that said, something is coming and nothing can stop it. Fires were lit, palm wine spilled. The people gathered, faces painted, robes bright, yet under the noise there was a stillness, as if the ancestors had taken their seats among the guests. On a raised platform beneath ceremonial cloth, a throne was waiting, not for a queen, but for a possession. Women ululated in rhythm, men danced in lines, and in every eye, the unspoken truth. They had all come to witness a wedding and a surrender. In the shadows, near the outer ring of dancers, Kwame stood cloaked. His eyes never blinked. His hand never left the pouch tied to his waist. He wasn't here to celebrate. He was here to take back what never belonged to tradition. The drums didn't know it yet, but they were beating the rhythm of war. Inside the bridal hut, the air was thick, with perfume and prison. Adwa sat still as women circled her. They touched her face, braided her hair tighter, tied gold around her wrists, her ankles, her throat. "Smile, child," one whispered. "You're becoming a wife." But she was not becoming a wife. She was becoming an offering. Her kente glowed with royal hues, indigo, gold, red. But her eyes were empty, a still pool above a roaring ocean. The chains weren't heavy, but she felt them deep in her bones. One woman placed a golden crown upon her head. "He will be pleased," she said. Adwa looked into the polished bronze mirror. She didn't see herself. She saw a statue, built to please a man, paid for in tusks and blood. Her heart whispered a single name, Kwame, and with it came something the gold could not bind. Hope. Kwame moved like a ghost, not unseen, just unnoticed. A guest here, a shadow there. His earth-toned cloak blurred into the crowd, but his eyes never left the stage, the platform where she would be presented, where the chief would speak, where the warlord would rise. He stood near the edge, between two palm trees, beside a drunk elder who swayed to the beat. No one questioned his presence, but inside him a storm raged. He gripped the leather pouch tighter. Inside it, the last of his gold. Not to buy her, but to distract the gods if it came to that. A procession of drummers passed beside him. He didn't blink. The rhythm was rising. Then a horn sounded. Not festive. Formal. Final. The chief was stepping forward. The warlord was rising. Kwame's breath slowed. His fingers brushed the hidden dagger beneath his belt. He didn't know if the ancestors would come, but he had. And he wasn't leaving alone. The platform was lit. Torches flickered. Shadows danced like spirits unsure if they were welcome. Chief Bowen stood tall in his ceremonial robe, his voice booming across the gathering. He spoke of legacy, of tradition, of bride prices paid in gold, cloth, and tusks. But his eyes never sought hers. Because this wasn't about love. It was about possession. Adwa stepped forward. Slow. Heavy. Her golden chains clinked against her skin like soft shackles. The crowd murmured admiration. Some smiled, but none could hear her heart, breaking beneath the beads. Then Nanaku rose. His crimson armor caught the firelight. His steps were arrogant, calculated, the kind of man who never asked, only took. He stood beside her. The final rite was moments away. The chief lifted his staff. The air tensed, and in the crowd, Kwame reached beneath his cloak. His fingers touched the blade, the pouch, the fire in his chest. He waited. The gods were watching, and the sky was holding its breath. The chief raised his staff, but the air changed. It moved differently. It spoke. A gust swept across the platform, sharp, unnatural. The torches wavered, then toppled. Flames leapt into the sky. Smoke spiraled upward like a signal to the old gods. The drummers hesitated. Elders stood. Women pulled back their children. Then came the second gust. Fiercer. It knocked over ceremonial pots, sent golden plates clattering, blew through the crowd like a spirit released. Adwa turned her face to the wind. Her chains rattled, no longer quiet. Nanaku growled, stepping forward. Who dares disturb the sacred rite? No one answered. Because it wasn't a man. It was something older. Something watching. Kwame moved. One step, then two. From the shadows, toward the fire, toward her, toward war. Kwame did not run. He leapt, over baskets, past guards, through the flames. One heartbeat he was part of the crowd. The next, he was on the platform. Adwa turned, her mouth opened, not in fear, but hope reborn. Nanaku roared. His sword cleared its sheath in a flash. She belongs to me. His voice cracked the air like a whip. Kwame stood between them now, his body barely armed, his eyes burning with something sharper than blades. She never did, he said. The crowd erupted in screams. Some ran, others watched, held in place by awe, by fear, by destiny unfolding. Adwa reached for him, her wrists still chained, but in her eyes, freedom, trust, a love no gold could buy. The wind howled again, this time not random, this time with purpose. Nanaku's eyes were not human anymore. They were fire, fury. His hand moved to the hilt, smooth, practiced. This wasn't a man reacting. This was a weapon remembering its purpose. You dare touch what is mine. His voice cut through the chaos like a dagger. Kwame didn't step back. He didn't even blink. She was never yours, he said quietly. Adwa stood behind him, her hands trembling, but her spine straight. Her chains glinted in the firelight like they too were ready to break. Nanaku raised the sword above his head. The fire reflected along its edge. The crowd gasped, caught between fear and the question, would the gods allow this? Then the clouds groaned, a low growl across the heavens. Nanaku roared and swung, but before the blade could fall, a cry rose from the edge of the firelight. Enough! It wasn't a scream, it was a summon. The crowd turned, even Nanaku froze mid-swing. There stood old Naya, staff in hand, cloak whipping like smoke in the wind, eyes blazing with the fury of 10,000 spirits. You have defied the sacred laws, she thundered. You trade women like cattle. You mock the ancestors. You believe gold can buy what love has already claimed. She stepped forward. No guards dared stop her. Tonight, the spirits of the earth speak, and they do not bargain. Her staff struck the ground. Once, twice, 3 times. The clouds roared in response. Lightning tore across the sky, white, jagged, divine. Adwa fell to her knees. Kwame shielded her. Nanaku stepped back, his sword shaking, not from fear of a man, but from the truth of judgment. Nanaku's scream shattered the silence. He raised his sword again, but the blade shook. The fire didn't fear him. The people didn't cheer him, and the sky no longer tolerated him. The clouds opened, the light broke, and then the sky struck. A blinding flash, a crack that split the night in two. The boat didn't miss. It found him, called his name. Nanaku's body convulsed, his armor glowing white for a heartbeat too long. The sword dropped, his knees hit the earth, and then silence. The fire dimmed, the drums stopped. The warlord fell not by hand, but by heaven's will. In the crowd, no one moved, not a breath, not a whisper. Chief Bowen slowly lowered his staff. His hands trembled. The gods had spoken, and they did not want gold. They wanted truth. Chief Bowen stood frozen. The staff in his hand, once heavy with pride, suddenly felt like a burden. The lightning still echoed in his bones. The warlord's body still smoked at the edge of the platform, and yet no one moved, because all eyes were on him. He looked down at his daughter, her chains, her tears, her trembling lips, and beside her, Kwame, dirty, bruised, but unbroken. He had no gold, no armor, no title, only love, the kind even gods seemed willing to kill for. The chief's voice, when it came, was not loud. It cracked like old wood in the fire. "I have misjudged." The words fell heavy. Some in the crowd gasped, others bowed their heads. "This was not my choice to make. The ancestors have spoken." He stepped back, not like a man defeated, but like a man finally hearing the truth. The throne behind him loomed, but he didn't return to it. He turned and faced the boy. "Take her," he said. "Take her and be free." Chief Bowen stepped forward slowly. Each step seemed to carry the weight of generations. His gaze met his daughter's, not as chief to subject, not even as father to child, as man to soul. Seeing, perhaps for the first time, the woman standing before him, he reached down. His fingers brushed the golden chains at her wrists. "Forgive me," he said. His voice cracked. The crowd gasped. It was not the chief they knew. It was a man made small by truth. He unfastened the chains. One, then the other. The gold fell with a soft clink, a sound no longer rich, but hollow. "You are no one's to trade," he said. Then he turned to Kwame and handed her hand to his. "Go," he said, "before the world remembers how cruel it can be." The torches flickered, but in that moment, the fire belonged to them. The platform faded behind them. So did the crowd, the judgment, the fire. All that remained was freedom. Kwame and Adwa ran, barefoot through the red earth, past the torches, into the jungle's mouth. The wind danced in her braids. His cloak trailed behind him like a flag of rebellion. Neither spoke. Words were too small now. Only the sound of heartbeats, of leaves brushing their skin, of the earth sighing beneath their feet, and above them the full moon, watching, guiding, blessing. They reached the sacred river, the same one elders said no one could cross without permission from the spirits. But it opened for them. Or maybe they simply never looked back. At the edge of the jungle, they paused, just long enough for her to take his hand. "You kept your vow," she whispered. He smiled, breathless. "No, we broke fate together." And with that, they disappeared into the trees. The village would wake to silence, but the baobab would remember.